The new Supergirl for James Gunn's next summer blockbuster is already playing the victim in a playbook we haven't seen tried this badly since Rachel Zegler tap danced her way in with a bunch of CGI dwarves. Today we'll tell you why DC is yet again at war with the audience and why it's going to go really badly for Not So Supergirl. Hello and howdy to everyone out there joining us right here on the Pro Channel, where we continue to bring you the news you need to know when it comes to entertainment. It's important, stories matter, and that's why the chatter is right here. As we dive in, click the like button, and let's talk about Supergirl going back to the Ghostbusters 2016 playbook yet again. Oh boy, Supergirl, James Gunn, this is not going well. From Trevor Denning out of ThatParkPlace.com, new Supergirl trailer recap and reactions. She saves a dog. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you may remember that we told you they were going to do this. We told you this was going to happen in the trailer, and here it is. Everybody remembers when we came out and said the new strategy that we've heard DC is going to go with is get the dog out there in every single bit of marketing they can, because this young lady is not winning over the fans, and the only way they can figure out to bring guys to see the movie is the dog. And there they go again with the dog. The new Supergirl trailer is, as many expected, totally distinct from the first look that appears to address some early fan criticisms and hints at a more character-driven story, whereas Millie Alcock's Kara initially came across as jaded, reluctant, almost self-destructive. This second trailer reveals a Supergirl with heart, although she still looks like she's about 12 or 13. Folks, lest you think that we're on the brink of a turnaround for this film, Screen Rant is stamping that out, and here's why. Millie, hey Millie, not Bobby Brown, said the criticism she's already facing simply for playing a female superhero in the upcoming Warner Brothers film is par for the course. Of course, you all know that the lady who plays Mantis out of Guardians, she never had this problem.
Nope.
You know that Gamora never was this kind of nebula. No. What about Gal Gadot? No, she didn't get this out of it.
Never heard a word from Gal.
But here we go. Quote, it definitely made me aware that simply existing as a woman, I don't know what that is sometimes. Oh, no, I do. As a woman in that space is something that people comment on. We have become very comfortable having this weird ownership of women's bodies. I can't really stop them. I can only be myself. Derek, this is every single time a film is going to be bad, and they know it. They go into this defense mode, and we immediately can see what the play is. And here's the thing, though, Derek. It never, ever, ever works. The Amanda Stenberg, scenario, it never works. Rachel Zegler, it never works. This is a one-way trip to a really bad career if this is how she's going to try to market the film. Derek, what do you think? Is this preemptive narrative building?
You mean trying to guilt trip the fans isn't going to work, Pro? What? I'm shocked. I'm shocked that guilt trips don't work on the fans. I'm so tired of this narrative, man. Every single time, it's the fans' fault. Okay. Oh, I'm a woman. I'm existing in the space that men love to frequent. The comic book movies, the sci-fi stuff. They hate us. And it's like, no, we don't hate you at all. We just want you to play the character correctly. And usually 9 times out of 10, it's not even the actress that has an issue, that we have an issue with. It's the storytelling. It's the way they're displaying this character. That's where the problem exists. I don't hate Millie Alcock. I love Millie Alcock in House of the Dragon. I thought she did an amazing job. But if you're going to start off this way, you're already going to get on everybody's bad list. Just focus on acting and stop trying to talk to the talking points that your studio keeps giving you. And, or maybe it's her agent. I don't know. This isn't going to work at all. People have already said, oh, okay, we're the bad people. Guess what? We won't watch your movie. We won't turn up for your movie. It was the same thing with Brie Larson. Brie Larson seems to have learned her lesson, over the last few years. She's been on a complete redemption tour, but it seems like she doesn't get it. Stop talking to the audience. Talk about the movie, but don't talk to the fans and say that the fans are somehow toxic and sexist and, misogynistic. This isn't going to sell your film. I mean, you're 3 months out. The film is already, getting some blowback from the audience because, one, the source material isn't the best. But then you're also talking about, well, you don't really look the part of Supergirl. I don't know if this is really going to work. So I just think this is just bad strategy. I don't know who keeps filling these actresses' heads up with that men hate. Like I said, Gal Gadot, perfectly fine. Nobody said anything negative about Gal Gadot when she played Wonder Woman. No one said anything about Scarlett Johansson. No one said anything about Elizabeth Olsen. Everybody enjoyed the portrayals of those particular heroes. So what are you talking about? You know, just get out there, act, promote the movie as positively as you can. You'll be fine.
But you know who did say something about Black Widow? Scarlett Johansson, right?
Yeah, well, that's what, yeah.
So that's what tarnishes it. But what's actually, I mean, again, I haven't counted the point. They are completely allowed to talk to and about the audience, but they should do it in a respectful and honoring way, realizing that they're the ones who pay the bills. And part of the thing is just, again, nobody's been excited about this movie. So if no one's been, because no one got excited about Superman after they saw it, it was just a giant letdown. So now that we're here, it's like all you're doing is just reinforcing the letdown, because they put out a trashy movie trailer that basically is just Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's literally all I saw. All I could see was Guardians of the Galaxy. And when she shows up on screen, I'm like, I just don't care, because I didn't like your character when you cameoed in Superman, because you weren't Supergirl there. And so calling her nice and sweet in this trailer, I couldn't think of anything less accurate to state about her. I thought she came across as annoying and just highly immature, which I'm fine with the immature and annoying, but you need to at least show that she's optimistic and hopeful. No one cares about the stupid dog anymore. Everyone's moved on.
That's the character of Supergirl. The Supergirl character is positive. She's optimistic. That's what they're missing here.
But so is Superman.
And from all of these trailers is the optimism of the character. And it's like, okay, so these guys clearly don't understand the most popular iterations of Supergirl that have always worked throughout the ages is her hopeful optimism. They don't have any of that in this. She seems very depressed. It's like Yelena all over again, man. We're going to get another Yelena where she's crying half the time in the movie. I don't want to see that. I want to see a hopeful, just especially coming off of Project Hail Mary, where we've gotten all of this a positivity. It's like, yes, I feel good about movies again. And then we're going to lead into depressing, boring, sad Supergirl.
But again, like because even if they wanted to take the route that she was going to be, like, again, Clark's protector, right? But he obviously wound up on Earth first. Yeah. Like, you could do that and have her kind of just be like almost resentful of the fact that, like, she wasn't needed, but then, like, finding her identity in the fact that, like, she doesn't need to be his protector because he's obviously a protector himself, and have that kind of character growth. And, and in that, you can have that strong, powerful woman, believe it or not. And everyone would be like, oh, this actually makes sense. There's character growth, there's development. But again, she's just annoying and nobody cares. Again, because no one cares about the dog. It's like Baby Yoda all over again. And so they thought, oh, well, actually, I don't even think it's Baby. I think they tried to capture Baby Yoda and see, like, they thought maybe the dog would bring people in, but the dog's not going to bring anybody in.
No.
So here's the other problem with, you can do a character. I mean, we did this with Tony Stark, where you build and the character starts in a morally depraved place, and over time you raise them up and they learn and they grow, and that's the hero's journey, right? The problem is for Supergirl, yes, she's annoying, but she also looks like she's about 14 years old. And when you present a 14-year-old looking girl who's a drunkard, it just doesn't work. It feels weird, and I don't want to go watch it. I don't want to be judged for watching it.
Yeah, I have a lot of issues with that myself, because she does look like a little kid. And when you talk about the Tony Stark thing, it's like, okay, yeah, Tony Stark had a lot of problems. As a character, he's very likable. Like, just charisma, like ridiculous charisma with Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. 2008, you're like, he's got problems and he's working through them. And then and by Iron Man 2, now he's dealing with PTSD in Iron Man 3, but he still has that kind of almost optimistic charisma where it's like, hey, I've got these problems, but I'm going to fight through them and get to the other side. and that's where we're watching the journey of him getting through to the other side. We're watching her kind of wallow in it. And that's not a positive thing for anybody. I don't think that's a positive message for anybody. Now, obviously, she has to go through an arc, and on the other end of that, she's going to be a different person. We hope, but this is not a beloved story.
9, Wiz, look at this.
Yeah, she looks like a little girl, and I don't like that. I don't really like that either. That she looks so young.
I can't help
but I just think
she can't help. She looks young, but she looks young. And James Gunn should have figured this out and said, I don't think we can do debauchery with the girl who looks like she's 10 or 11 on the screen.
Well, I actually want to kick this over to the people on the panel that have kids or daughters. How do you feel about taking your kids to see a movie about this young-looking girl drinking and being a kind of degenerate, working through trauma? I don't know. I don't have kids, but like, what would the panel say about something like that? Do you feel like this is the kind of thing you want to take your kids to?
My kids have watched 2 superhero. Well, they watched actually the Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man movies, but they haven't seen really any of the other Marvel ones that have come out. Even though I'm really excited to bring them through the MCU up to Endgame, and then they don't know that it doesn't exist after that. But the reason why is because there's too much swearing, there's too much sexuality, and it's just too adult. My kids are between the ages of 4 to 10. I was really hoping that Superman I could have watched with my 4-year-old, because he would have been pumped. I will not be watching Superman with my 4-year-old, because there's just way too much stuff, like middle fingers flying around, and it wasn't even funny. It was just stupid. So like, I actually tried watching it on my own again, just thinking like, I'm gonna give it a chance. I got about like 20-30 minutes in. I was like, this is boring. My kids are gonna hate this. The only scene that had a little bit of life was when the kaiju thing was in the middle of the city, and that was about it. That was the most Superman part of that entire movie, and even that was lackluster. Like, Superman should have just, like, as he was watching the bombs from Mr. Terrific go into the stomach, he should have done the Heimlich maneuver somehow on that kaiju and saved it. But James Gunn doesn't think that way, because he doesn't actually think about saving anybody, and thus I don't want my kids watching this stuff.
Yeah, I raised my kids on the MCU. Like, my children are all older. All right, they're all in their 20s by now. So they came up during the first phase, second phase. Like, we started, like, the first movie I took my, like, 6-year-old youngest son to see was Iron Man. And he loved it. He thought it was a blast. He got all the way into. So it's different for, the way I think, because that's when superhero movies were kind of coming into their own.
But they were also cleaner at that point, right? And so what happened is, as the movies aged, so did your kids.
Right. It was kind of cool to bring your kids up in the MCU. It was kind of like how I imagine my parents felt about bringing me up through Star Wars and Ghostbusters and Gremlins and all those kind of movies. The MCU early on was a special time for families. I guarantee it. I enjoyed it. My kids enjoyed it. If I had to take them through this particular era, I would be very hesitant, because number one, I know that the movies aren't what I've seen now. I know the movies aren't going to be the same quality, but also it seems like, especially with the DCU, James Gunn is leaning into areas that I probably never would have taken my kids. Like Guardians was a stretch, but it was fine. Okay. It worked. It was like, okay, some violence a little bit, but that's fine. Okay. My kids are older now. They get it. If I was taking a young kid through Guardians of the Galaxy right now and what was going on there, I would have been a little bit nervous. I definitely would have been nervous, like you, Steve, when it came to Superman, just based on me seeing it. And then this movie, knowing that Supergirl is going to be the next film, I probably would have already said, I'm not going to take my kids to see this. I don't want my daughter. I have a daughter, and now she's, almost 30.
Plus, there's very
at that time, I probably would have said, I don't know about this one.
But there's already highly R-rated content in this universe.
Within the universe.
So you know that you don't want your kids to engage with this stuff, because, like, let's say that your kids, I mean, my kids don't really use the internet very much, but let's say your kids do. Now, all of a sudden, they want to look up some Supergirl stuff and see if there's any other movies with Supergirl in it. Do I really want my kids looking that up? Right? Because what are they going to come across? What are they going to see? Right?
Yeah.
So, like,
Peacemaker.
exactly.
Find
It's like-
Peacemaker, which
exactly.
is
They're going to
extremely
absolutely
degenerate.
run into
James
Peacemaker
Gunn
clips.
tanked his entire universe immediately because he did not make a superhero franchise for families. He made it for perverts.
He made it for James Gunn.
I've been
Lauren,
saying that since day one, man. I said,
Let me
this
get
was
Lauren
the
in.
stupidest move. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Real quick, Lauren, what do you think about the idea that James Gunn is kind of done if this one goes belly up? Because I just don't see the path after this with the Ellisons, and I just don't know what you do. Superman has already been, I mean, in front of Congress, they testified that Superman did not perform as desired.
Well, I can tell you as an unlicensed mortician that owning female bodies can get you into trouble.
Thank you. That's your daily uncertified mortician announcement.
I do think that I do think that they will still get through Man of Tomorrow, because I think they have to push through on production for that.
Yeah.
But if Supergirl doesn't perform, if Man of Tomorrow doesn't perform, then I think he's out. I don't think he's got a chance of remaining.
I wonder where he goes at that point. Does he just go indie? Because I don't know Marvel will want him either.
Well,
I can see him doing Indiana Jones.
No, not that indie.
Before he did more independent, harder edge stuff, was it Brightburn? I think was the name of it, or Burn.
Yeah, maybe
that
he'll
was
get
his
the Brightburn universe going.
Yeah, I think that's more his wheelhouse, and so I think that he would go back to doing stuff like that. In a way, I kind of see him overlapping a little bit Sam Raimi in a way. They kind of have the same idea about edgy kind of humor, but I think that Raimi's a lot better at making family-friendly fare and going gonzo with it, as opposed to more the horror edge that I think that Gunn would prefer to go, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Culture, you have been waiting in the wings, and sir, it's time to say what you need to say. What do you got, Culture?
I have 2 words for you. Tom King. That's all I have to say. That's what this Supergirl is. It is disgusting, dystopian garbage. And this is basically the adaptation of his Woman of Tomorrow craptasticness that, while critically acclaimed in its eight comic run, 8 total episodes, if you want to call them that, or 8 total books, really wasn't a chart pleaser. It was a critic pleaser, not a chart pleaser. And I have no interest in this dystopian world that we were supposed to get, a departure from. And this is more of the same, because this is a girl who's emotionally immature, who was allowed to, act purely on emotion, and, in ways that, are self-destructive. And I feel like this presentation of the character is the worst thing ever. And I don't care how many extra reshoots they did, because even if they add more Jason Momoa to this, I don't think it saves the film. I'm thinking if I were to give predictions on this, I think this is a miserable failure. It makes Superman look like a raging success. And I think that really does make it an easy decision for the Ellisons, because rumors have it, that he's gone already. Like, he could be gone before Man of Tomorrow comes out.
I think this does Tron Ares numbers right now. Yeah. I think that's where we're headed.
Do we know? Have they announced what the budget is yet? Because I think that's going to be the indication. If they announce a lowball budget between now and the movie's release,
they tried.
They are trying to lie. And I wouldn't take that number seriously.
I had heard 180, but I don't remember where that came from, so don't hold me to that. But I think 180 was the budget. Who knows what the actual spend is? But they've spent a lot on advertising. They spent way more than is wise on advertising here. So. This may be
you
a
got to think
one-to-one.
about this too, Pro. Sorry to interrupt, but you got to think about this. The whole DCU right now, and these 3 projects that they have this year, with Supergirl, with Lanterns, and with Clayface, that's going to be 1/2 of James Gunn's output so far, because he did Creature Commandos, Superman, and Peacemaker. Those were his first 3.
Hey, Derek,
all 3 of those are
named.
dropping this year, and in 2026. All 3 of those projects are dropping this year. And that's literally half of what you've done. And if all 3 of these fail. And I think they're all going to fail because I don't think anybody's interested in an R-rated Lanterns or an R-rated, like we were talking about, Steve, like the R-rated like content that this guy's pushing out. It's not family friendly. It doesn't cast the widest net possible and invite all kinds of folks, families, kids, people of all ages. You love like superheroes, right? Yeah, come watch it. That's how Marvel started, and James Gunn went in the absolute opposite direction. And I think that's what's ultimately going to sink the franchise, is that you have an unfamily friendly universe that nobody's watching.
I think you're.
So by the time you get to Man of Tomorrow, like, is there anything salvageable if we don't get through this year with something?
No, because, and this is why I think you're so right on this, DA. Think back to how Sony kind of derailed themselves with their Spider-Verse stuff, right? Madam Web, Morbius, it's Morbin time, all that disaster that ended with Craven, right? And so all three of those were spectacular failures, right? Even people were worried about the Venom, the last two Venom films. Yeah. And so this Spider-Verse is canceled for now, for the most part, outside of Spider-Noir and potentially more development in that area. And of course, that's being done by an entirely other studio. Spider-Noir is coming out of Amazon. But you have to look at the fact that it is all perverted content. Peacemaker is perverted. He's diving deeply into creature commandos, very perverted. And where did he go from there? A very disappointing Superman. We've got Clayface on the horizon. That's perverted horror. How family friendly is any of that stuff, guys?
How weird is it that Clayface might have the best chance of being somewhat well received?
It's $40 million budget. That's why it might actually make money. It's not because I think it's going to draw all kinds of crowds.
But it's crazy.
Mike Flanagan, who's I think he wrote it. I don't know if I don't think he directed it, but Mike Flanagan has a good track record of making mostly good, movies for Netflix. He did Dr. Sleep, which I also liked. He's a good director, but I think he stepped away from the directing duties. But yeah, just him being involved kind of gives a little ray of sunshine for Clayface. But outside of that, I mean, it's another R-rated property in what should be a family-friendly, superhero universe where it's just fun and fantasy and having a good time. Like you guys just got through saying, man, the first Iron Man kind of set the tone. Hey, Tony Stark's a great character, man. He's charismatic. He's fun. This is what DC needed to do. Yeah. And they did, and he's failed on every level, every single level. Superman, just one of the worst Superman iterations ever.
James Gunn makes Dark Knight look like it's a Disney princess film.
Wow.
And Dark Knight 10, 15 years ago, however long it's been, was a gritty, very dark take on everything with the Joker, and people saw it and compared it to a horror film. No, it's like a Disney princess film compared to what James Gunn does.
Yeah, Nolan was great with that.
And that's why the screenings are reportedly terrible for Supergirl. We've got people saying, instead of 5, it's a 7. Not going to be a good time. Not going to be a good time if that's the pre-screening. And those people are the most likely to leak out positive. Wiz, any other thoughts on this with Supergirl and where we are in terms of just this character being flawed, and they're going to try to twist and turn this again into, the men won't go see the women anymore.
It's not looking good for Hollywood overall. And this is we saw it a couple of days ago, and we got the Harry Potter trailer. 2 or 3 days after that, we got a Defense Force trades article saying that Snape is under attack. Here we get the Supergirl trailer. 5 minutes after the trailer drops, it's the audience is the big bully and you guys are terrible. It's not going to change, but we'll cover it here.
Toxic fandoms, right? That's what they say. We don't believe it. Well, folks, we've come to the end of another video of pure excellence and fun. Explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve. That's what we hope you believe we've just done. And why should you believe it? Well, because we've done our very best to make it so. To be true, to be factual, and to do what the mainstream so-called access journalists simply won't. Folks, you can help share this out across the fruited plains of YouTube by clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, as we get ready to say sayonara for now, we ask that you keep learning, keep growing, and wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep having fun.